Well, I got to go down and talk to Laura. The sheriff's talking to her right now. So our conversation got cut short. Laura knows a lot about my situation. She was there from the start. I mean, getting Laura to speak on the stand and there's a lot of stuff that happened, a lot of really screwed up situations. She apologized. That means a lot. There was no way I was going to be able to defend myself. There was no way, without my income and without housing, that I was going to be able to be safe from all the people that were after me because of slander. Slander that was spread by the news. I had to be afraid to go to the cops. It sucked. I went to the cops over and over before Natalie was killed, and because of jurisdiction, that was always their excuse. That was their excuse in Boulder. That was their excuse in Nebraska. Everybody's excuse was jurisdiction. Meanwhile, I kept getting dropped off in places that are out of jurisdiction and having to waste my resources to try to get back to that jurisdiction to make a report, and then waste more resources to get out of there so that I wasn't abused further. It was further compounded by the fact that I was assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai and sent to Clearview before they found Natalie's killer. And those people in Clearview were well aware of what they were doing. They were well aware of what was going on. And they assumed my guilt. I should never have had to break the law. These jurisdictional boundaries only existed one way. I'm not allowed to show evidence of everything that was happening, but they're allowed to show just the parts where I responded to the abuse, and they don't have to show the abuse. They can do everything in their power to prevent that abuse from being shown. I need to be able to process all of this, process it emotionally, have a place to actually process it all, where I can have some peace and quiet. A lot of the people who gave me a roof over my head, they had good intentions to start, but they didn't understand that their involvement needed to be documented, and they needed to document it because nobody was listening to me. None of these professionals would listen to me. So, while I was talking to Laura, I was getting a bunch of messages dinging my phone. Ding, 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 ding. And I was ignoring them because it was pretty important for me to speak with Laura. The thing is that I went through a lot of abuse over shitty laws. But it was a lady in California. Her cousin's in Boulder. She's stuck out in the weather. She wanted to know if I knew anybody in Boulder that wasn't a creep. Actually, yeah, I do. I know a lot of people down there. The problem is a lot of them are pissed off at me. One of the cardinal rules of being a homeless person is you don't talk to the police. There's a reason for that. A lot of them are pissed off because I talk to the police. So I'm reading that stuff while sitting with Laura and crying about this lady that just a few years ago I could have helped her. Laura admitted that she was afraid of being targeted by the crazies. And I get that. I totally do. I mean, I didn't want to be targeted by the crazies. I didn't want a bunch of meth heads and heroin heads harassing me. I didn't want a bunch of wannabe fake-ass Christian zealots threatening my life. But it still happened. And these people who tried to come forward and tried to get the police to listen, the police just wouldn't listen. They kept telling me, oh, well, the police say that you have to go in. I went in. You saw how they treated me. I needed someone to go in with me so that I wouldn't get the mentally ill treatment. When you're a homeless male, that's what you have to look forward to. The mentally ill treatment. When you try to turn in a police officer, you get the mentally ill treatment. When that happens, they put drugs in you. They harm you a lot in these institutions. You're not a person. You're pennies in their pocket. What you have to say doesn't matter. The moral of the story is that because of jurisdiction and because of slander, it's okay to harm me. It's okay to harm me repeatedly wherever I go. But it's not okay for me to defend myself. It's not okay for me to speak out about the abuse. It's not okay for me to be pissed off. I just want the pain to stop. And these people who, well, Miss Peaches, for example, telling me that I should have tried harder. She should have tried harder. If she cared about me, she would have. She would have gone in with me to make a statement. She would have understood that I don't have the resources to jump through and do all the things that they're asking me to do, and now I don't have the mental ability to. God, that shit just runs through my head all the time. All of the fucked up little shit that prevented me from having an honest day in court. Things that weren't my choice. It wasn't my choice for Mandy Hughes to have warrants. It wasn't my choice for Joshua Eichelberger to be an asshole. It wasn't my choice for Shannon Alvarado to scream every night because she was drunk. No other reason except that she was drunk. It wasn't my choice for Brenda Dickinson to not answer the door. See, all of these people, they could have spoken out in public, but they were afraid of being victimized. Most of them said that. Most of them told me that. Most of them texted me that. But the police wouldn't take a look at any of it, no matter what jurisdiction I was in. My guilt was assumed, and it was assumed that I deserved everything that people were doing to me. And when I spoke up about what these people were doing to me, they did everything in their power to prevent me from showing the truth, to take advantage of my disabilities, to get away with doing whatever they want. I just found a garbage can full of tools. That's cool. I'm gonna pull them out of here. Try to service them up. I just found a sander. That's how I got most of my tools. I pulled them out of a dumpster and I fixed them. This one ain't no different. Somebody threw it away, probably because it doesn't work. By the time I'm finished with it, it will. There's a futon and stuff in here. I wish I could jump in the dumpster like I used to. Because when you can jump in the dumpster, you can get all the good stuff. It looks like there's some stuff at the bottom that would be nice, but I can't go in there to get it. I just needed to be able to get away from the abuse. I needed somebody who was sober to help. I needed an advocate. I'm hoping these folks will be able to help me. The ones out of North Platte. I never wanted to break the law. I just wanted the abuse to stop. And all the fucked up excuses that were made by all these people all along the way. When I tried to turn them in, they did illegal shit to prevent me from doing so. It's fucked up. Hopefully, well, I really should be there with Scott DaCosta to record the conversation, but also there's some privacy issues involved with that, I guess. You know, it's messed up even more than that is the HIPAA laws didn't matter. The HEPA laws didn't matter in my case. They weren't observed at any point in time, unless it could be used to prevent the truth from coming out in court. These things only happened to me because I didn't have an advocate.